everyone, welcome to another episode of the Anti-Pharmacist podcast. Once again, I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas in advance. Yes, Christmas is getting closer and closer, and I know that we are all in the festive mood and spirit, just like I am. And I hope that you had a nice weekend. I did, to an extent. And today is Monday, right? So I hope that you enjoyed your day so far and that it sets a good tone for your week. Today, I'll be talking about deworming, okay? Deworming is something that has been around for decades now. A lot of people are aware of it, if I could use that word, but they don't really understand it. Yes, I've realized that a lot of people are on like two different spectrums when it comes to the concept of deworming. Some just know about it, they have no knowledge of it at all, or they ignore it, while others have certain misconceptions about it. A lot of people think that deworming is only necessary in children. Others think that deworming is not even necessary at all. And others just see it as something trivial that doesn't really matter until they actually need to deworm. Now, this episode aims to demystify the concept of deworming to make you understand everything you need to know about deworming and give you the details that are accurate and precise about deworming. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First, what is deworming? Just like the name implies, that is deworming. It's like the remover of worms. That's the simplest explanation of it. But to define it, deworming is the process of removing gastrointestinal parasites, from the body. And these worms are collectively called ailments. Therefore, the medications to treat them are called anti-ailments. They are anti-parasitic medications because the worms are parasites. These parasites depend on the human intestine for both nutrition and survival. They might be present in the human intestines for years without any symptom, because they're actually brought into the system from the environment. These worms cause poor nutrition, malnutrition, inability to extract enough nutrients from your food. They could cause gastrointestinal bleeding when they have overpopulated the gut, disrupting the gut microbiota. They could also cause anemia, which is very common in children. They also disrupt neurological, cognitive function of children. They can cause stunted growth as well. So they have a lot of baggage with them when they overgrow their boundaries, so to speak. Now, what are these worms? What are the example of these worms? They are the tapeworm, roundworm, pinworm, whipworm, hookworm. There are lots of them. They are all parasites that are taken into the body from the environment that could pose all these health risks that I've mentioned. And it has been shown by research that over 2 billion people are affected by worm infestation, especially in poor countries that are known as third world countries, because of the issue of poor sanitation and poor health care, poor waste disposal, bad hygiene, and all of that. These worms actually get into the body mostly through the fecal oral route. That is, somebody who has excess worms, they pass their feces anyhow. This feces gets washed into water bodies. It gets to plant or vegetables, and when these vegetables are harvested, they are not washed properly. They are consumed, used to cook and all of that, and they get into the body, causing all of those health hazards that I have mentioned earlier. Now, like I said, these worms can be in the body for decades without any symptom at all. That is, if they have not overgrown a certain population. But once they have gotten to a level that the body cannot tolerate anymore, they start exhibiting symptoms. Most symptoms overlap for different kinds of worms. There is the anemia, which results. There is malnutrition or stunted growth, gastrointestinal bleeding, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, stomach cramps. But there are certain ones that are unique to different kinds of worms. For the hookworm, the differential symptoms are usually itchy red skin rash, especially on the feet. That's where the larva usually enters the body anyway. Sometimes it results into cough, wheezing, and fever. That is in rare cases. That's when the larva has moved through the lungs. For roundworm infection, known as ascariasis, it causes insomnia apart from cough, fever. It also causes restlessness and severe abdominal aches. It causes wheezing as well and malnutrition too. And for tapeworm infection, most people do not exhibit symptoms, okay? But sometimes when the larva has moved into some organs, the invasive tapeworm infection can cause dizziness, craving for salt, okay, reduced appetite. It can cause fatigue or weakness, and of course diarrhea, weight loss, and malnutrition as well. In the long run, tapeworm larvae, when they have left the intestine, can develop cysts in other tissues and harm the glands and tissues. So this can lead to lumps or tumors with cysts. It can lead to signs and symptoms of nervous system dysfunction like seizures. It could lead to headache as well. Okay, so those are symptoms of some worm infestations. A lot of people do not know how often they should deworm. This is dependent on age and environment. Okay, for children greater than 2, it has been recommended by WHO that they should deworm at least twice in a year. That is every 6 months. Okay, even up to adults. But in places where children are exposed to soil, maybe in rural areas, soil is the natural habitat of these ailments. Children can be dewormed more than twice in a year. It's even recommended that every 3 months children should deworm because of the kinds of things they take in, playing with sand, putting their hands in their mouth. Their hygiene level is not as high as that of adults. Adults can deworm twice in a year. That's the standard, okay? Especially in environments that are prone to worm infestations. Deworming is beneficial in that it prevents all those adverse health conditions that one would experience if they have overgrown or overpopulated the gastrointestinal tract, okay? Deworming improves absorption of nutrients from the gastrointestinal tract, and that prevents malnutrition. It enhances immunity because deworming helps to relieve the burden on the immune system. These worms are foreign bodies, and when they have overgrown, the immune system will want to compensate and fight them instead of focusing on fighting other diseases. So when the worms are not present, the immune system works better, you understand, to fight other diseases and infections. Also, it enhances growth and development in children. Malnutrition leads to stunted growth, but when there are no worms and there's no malnutrition, enough nutrients are gotten from the food absorbed by the body, and this enhances the growth and development, especially in children. So it helps in cognitive development and prevents nutritional deficiencies. Like I said, improves immune system. Then it prevents the risk of complications of worm infestation like intestinal blockade and severe anemia, which could be fatal if care is not taken. Now to the medications used for deworming. They are the common ones that we know: your albendazole, your mebendazole, okay, your pyrantel palmoate that people call pyrantrine or combantrin. Those are the most common ones, okay, that are used to deworm. There's also levamisole, and they are usually taken at once. A start dose of the anti-ailment is okay. It's not something that you use all the time, except for special cases in which you have to use them for a stretch of a few days. Okay, that is under the instruction of your healthcare provider, of course, because some people might have worm infestation that is so much that has caused gastrointestinal blockade. They might have to continue the usage for more than a few days, okay? And this are given based on age and weight For the albendazole, it comes as 400 milligrams, bendazole as 500 milligrams. So parental palmoate can come as 125 milligram tablet or 250 milligram tablet. Okay, your dosage will be determined by your healthcare provider, and you should take them as recommended. Okay, now these medications are not without their own side effects, like every other medication, and it's the common nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, sometimes headache, but this resolve after a few minutes or at worst hours after taking the medication, and you're fine afterwards. Okay, now there's this misconception about worm medications, which I believe is one of the reasons why people do not want to take them. Some believe that once you use a worm medication, you will start excreting live worms. No. Maybe there were drugs in the past that had that tendency to make you excrete live worms, but nowadays the drugs that we have, the WHO recommended drugs, they are bendazole, your mebendazole, your parental palmoate, will kill the worms. Okay, they paralyze the worms such that they die in the gastrointestinal tract. They are digested, kind of mixed with your feces, and you excrete them out as waste products, not as live worms. You will not even see the worms in your feces at all. You will just pass out your normal feces without seeing the worms. So if you are one of those people that are scared because maybe you saw a worm medication that has picture of those worm things and you think, oh, this is how they'll come out from my anus. No, that is not true. You will not excrete any live worm. It will not be a traumatic experience for you, except if they have now overpopulated your stomach so much. That is why you should deworm periodically before it gets to that point where they have blocked your intestine or you start seeing them physically in your feces. Okay, so not to worry. Let your children not be scared. You also do not be scared. Take your worm medicines and you will not even know that you have passed out anyone. So please go and get your deworming medicine. Okay. And there are other types of worms that one can contract from the environment, like filariasis, strongyloides, Wuchereria bancrofti, and the likes. Okay, but the important information is that if you haven't dewormed recently or this year, please go and get a worm medication and use it before the year end. Now, how do you prevent worm infestation? The summary is maintaining good hygiene. Okay, washing your hands, especially before and after you go into the restroom, using hygienic restroom, consuming hygienic water, consuming well prepared food. If you will at all eat raw food, make sure that you wash them thoroughly. Okay, keep your fingernails trimmed and clean. Then wear slippers. Do not let your children or yourself play in muddy or swampy areas, because there are some worms like the filariasis that could enter the body through that means. Okay, also treat your pets for worms, because their feces that contains worms could get into your water. Do you understand? Get a vet that would treat them for worms. So that is what I have for you today about worms. I've told you why you need to deworm, the types of worm that we're fighting, how to prevent them getting into your system, how they get into your system, the kind of medications to use, the kind of side effects you should expect, how often you should deworm both in adults and children. You know, this is a festive period and there will be so many meats going around. Some of these animals that we consume as well may carry some of these worms. So make sure that you cook your meats very well. Make sure that you wash them well, and it's not out of place for you to deworm yourself and your children this festive period. And that is what I have for you today on this episode of the Anti-Pharmacist Podcast. We're gradually getting to the end of the episodes for this year, guys. I'm so happy. I can't wait to take a break. It's a much needed one. I want to enjoy the festive season with my family. And not to worry, I know you might miss my voice, but then I have so many episodes for you to go back to and listen. Even if you've listened before, you'll listen again. But like I said, this is not the last episode. We have 1 or 2 more episodes before we wrap up for the year. And I hope that you're sharing, you're commenting, you're liking, you're reviewing the podcast, guys. I still need that. I really do. Please help your girl. Continue to spread the love, this Christmas. Share the podcast episodes that you think will be beneficial to that friend or family, okay? Let them hear it from the right source. Continue to support me also on my social media platforms as usual. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, your support means a lot to me. Till next time, stay healthy and God bless you.